On this episode, I'm going to be continuing my series with 3 trapped in a room suspense thriller movies that you should watch. And we're going to get right in on that right now. All right, so here it is, volume 3 of Trapped in a Room, suspense thriller movies, and I got 3 more movies for you. I want to get right in on that, but before we get into that, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, that way you get notified, if you hit the bell when I get new videos, and you won't miss out on anything. All right, now make sure you stay to the end of this list because I know I said I got 3 that I'm going to suggest. There is going to be a bonus one at the end of this one, and the bonus one is absolutely crazy. You're going to have to check it out, but we'll get to that at the end. This is one I saw several years ago. The first movie on my list is a little movie called Unknown. I can't remember how I found this movie. I just happened to run across it one day and watched this movie. And this movie stars, and this movie is another one. In my last video, I talked about how a lot of these movies star people that you may not have ever heard of before, but this movie had a few familiar faces, including Craig Kinnear, but it also stars Jim Caviezel and Bridget Monahan. Which this is one of the synopsis on IMDb that kind of hits the movie right on the head. 5 men wake up in a lockdown warehouse with no memory of who they are. They are forced to figure out who's good and who's bad to stay alive. And that's basically the movie. They hit the nail right on the head. Just like it says, the movie starts off with 5 men. They just wake up in this warehouse. They don't know how they got there. They don't know who they are. Their memory is gone. So the whole movie is them trying to figure out what's going on, why they're there and all of this kind of stuff. And of course, their lives depend on it and everything. And, it's a lot of like backstabbing and deception and stuff like that. A lot of thriller type, suspense type stuff, trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, I pretty much enjoyed this movie. I remember watching this a while ago. This is probably back when I first got into these type of movies. People trapped in a location and trying to figure out what's going on. I remember a TV series that had a similar story that I watched around the same time that really captured my attention. But yeah, this movie was pretty good. It's called Unknown. It came out in 2006. I'll link it up in the description below if I can find a link. I'm not sure where it's showing at, but I'll find out when I'm doing the editing for this video, and I'll link it up in the description below so you can check it out. It's called Unknown, and it's pretty good, and that's number 1 on my list. All right, so my number 2 movie on this list is a movie that you may have seen. This one is a little more mainstream than the other ones that I've talked about in this series so far. And this one is sort of like a thriller suspense movie, but it's more along the lines of a horror movie, sort of like a slasher a little bit. And the name of this movie, the number 2 movie on my list, is called You're Next. Like I said, you might have seen this one already. This may not be new to you, but yeah, You're Next was a pretty interesting movie. I remember going to see this movie in the theaters. Let's see, this movie came out in 2011, so it's not new, but it's not as old as the last one that I brought up. But it came out in 2011. It stars Sharni Vinson, Joe Swanberg, and AJ Bowen. And for the most part, let's look at the synopsis. Okay, it says, when the Davidson family comes under attack during their wedding anniversary getaway, the gang of mysterious killers soon learn that one of the victims harbor a secret talent for fighting back. It's pretty much that. But basically, what happens in this movie is that this family gets together. They get together at this large, it looks like it's a well-to-do family. And they get together at this large house. It's like the family house. And it's sort of like the mother, the father, several brothers and sisters, and they brought their significant others and all of that kind of stuff. So they get together at this house. And basically, they're there. You can tell there's a lot of like little nitpicky little catfighting type drama going on with several members of the family, a little bit of jealousy and all of that kind of stuff, and picking with each other and everything. And they're meeting at this house. And if I'm not mistaken, they're meeting there because the father has decided to sell the family house. The house has gotten too big. None of the kids live there anymore. They're all like adults. They're like in their 30s or whatever. But so the father decided to get rid of the house. So they're meeting up one last time. They hadn't seen each other in a while for this big dinner and like a weekend, spend some time together before they get rid of the house. But all of a sudden, they come under attack. It's like these masked people just all of a sudden go to the house and just one by one picking off the family members, just killing them. You don't know why. You just following this family who's stuck in the house. They can't leave. The house is booby trapped, so if they try to leave, stuff happens to them. So they're trapped in this house trying to figure out what's going on and trying to figure out how to get out of this house. And there's a lot of like little stuff that shows up, plot twists and everything like that makes this a crazy movie. It's called You're Next. I would say check it out if you haven't seen it. Another trapped in a room, trapped in a house style movie, but it's more of a like horror thriller than more so than like a psychological thriller, like a lot of the other ones that I talked about. No supernatural stuff involved. It's all straight up, regular people. The only thing that's crazy about it, that's abnormal about it, is that some of the people that's doing the killing and stuff like that are wearing masks and you don't know who they are. But yeah, You're Next. Go ahead and check that out. And then we're going to get to the number 3 suggestion on my list. Trapped in the room movies you should watch, and that movie is called The Platform. All right, so The Platform is a kind of a different type of movie than the rest of the movies on this list so far. It's still a group of people trapped in a location, but the story is a little bit different. It's more kind of like I wouldn't say science fiction, but it's more like a dystopian type of world that they're in. So basically, and first of all, The Platform, it came out, I saw it a couple years ago. It came out in 2019. I saw it on Netflix. And I don't think it's an English speaking language movie because I remember watching it and it was subtitled. But it was pretty good. Basically, what it is that this man, he's in this prison. It's sort of like an experimental prison. And like I said, this is sort of like some kind of dystopian type of future or something like that. So some of this stuff is kind of weird. So basically he's in this prison and the way this prison is set up, he's in this room and it's a real big square room. Now in the middle of this room is just a big open square and he can walk up to the edge and look down and there's different floors. They're like in this tall building. There's different floors and each floor is a certain like cell, like a prison cell. And there's 2 people on each floor, and he has a person on his floor. And basically what happens is every day this platform lowers from the top of the building all the way down to the bottom of the building. So on this platform is like tons of food, gourmet cooked food, is tons of food. But the trick is that it starts at the top. And at the top, this platform is gigantically filled to the rim with food, all of this gourmet cooked food, prepared food. But at each floor, it stops. And the 2 prisoners that is on this floor have to eat their fill and then goes down to the next floor. So the lower you are in this prison, which I think is like 300 floors or whatever, the lower you are in this prison, the less food is going to be on this platform because it starts off super filled to the max. But as it goes down, people mess over it, people eat over it, people eat the food up. And then the lower you get down on this, in this prison, it's, the food gets more scarce, So basically it follows this one guy that's in this prison and he starts off pretty high where the food is pretty good. And then he realizes, what's going on. And he starts trying to get the people above him and below him to only take what they need, and he put a note on the platform for everybody. Some people follow it, some people don't. But it's a crazy movie, Eventually, he tries to escape or somebody else tries to escape and ends up on his floor. Every once in a while, the whole building gets gassed and then the people fall asleep. And when they wake up, they're on a different floor. So now you may start off on floor 250 of 300, but then next thing you know, at the end of the month, you get gassed and you wake up and you're on floor 10. By the time the platform gets to you, you have hardly anything on that platform. But it's a pretty interesting movie. It's called The Platform. I suggest watching it. I think it's still on Netflix. I'll try to find a link for it. I'll link it up in the description below. But yeah, The Platform. So that was number 3. So I said I had a bonus movie. Now this bonus movie is crazy. I saw this movie years ago. Now, the name of this bonus movie I have is called Donkey Punch. Now, it's funny. I'm looking at the IMDb right now. Look at the synopsis they have. Things go drastically wrong for a group of British holidaymakers in Spain. What does that mean? That's not telling you anything. Okay, but I'm going to tell you what this movie is about. It's crazy. It's a British movie. You know, British movies I find is a little bit different than American movies. They don't necessarily always have happy endings. American movies kind of try to shoot for the happy ending. British movies aren't always like that. Their movies are just what it is, you know. So this movie is pretty interesting. Basically what it is that you have a group of girls. They're on like a trip or like a vacation in Spain, and then they run into these guys, you know, they're on a trip. They're not on a trip, but they like work on this yacht for like some kind of rich guy. Well, the rich guy that owns the yacht is off somewhere. So they have the yacht for the day, you know? So they talk to the girls and they're mingling and all of this kind of stuff. And they convince the girls to go with them on this yacht, you know, just to have fun for the day out in the ocean, out in the sea, you know, on a boat, drinks and all of that kind of stuff. And this movie turns into a trapped on a boat situation, because what ended up happening is once they get out there and they're having fun, some weird stuff happened. Some weird thing happened, which is the name of the movie. The movie is named after something kind of explicit. You have to watch the movie to find out. It's called Donkey Punch. There is an explicit meaning to that donkey punch, which they explain in this movie. You may know what it is, but they explain it in this movie. But anyway, that particular thing happens, and when it does happen, something horrible happens, and it just forces all of them to be stranded on this boat, trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out who to trust, who not to trust, and one by one, people are getting killed off. So you got to check this movie out. It's called Donkey Punch. It is crazy. It's crazy, crazy premise. You know, pretty fun movie, thriller, trapped on a boat. Donkey Punch. I'll link that up in the description below if I can find a link, but of where it's streaming, if it's streaming anywhere. But yeah, that's my movies. That's my 3 movies for the day, and the bonus one, which you need to check out the bonus one. And once again, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Check the like button. I got a couple more of these I'm going to do before this series ends. And I'm having a lot of fun doing these. This is one of my favorite types of movies when I'm looking for stuff to watch, you know, when I don't have anything out in particular that I'm interested in. I love pulling up these movies that make you just wonder what's going to happen. You know, people trapped in a location, how they're going to handle it, how they're going to deal with it. But yeah, if you thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. While you're here, why don't you check out that video right there? Or maybe that one right there. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little picture of my image there and subscribe to my channel.